From giving kudos to him on his socials, to putting his beloved franchise ahead of his own ego, here's how Vin Diesel really feels about Jason Momoa. It looks like there are a lot of positive vibes to go around, as Vin made a really excited post on his Instagram. For all the Fast and Furious fans out there, Vin revealed the release date of the 11th movie in the series, and you can look forward to seeing it on the 4th of April 2025. As for his co-stars, Diesel is super excited to keep working with them. He talked about how expressive and collaborative the new actors in the franchise were, and he specifically pointed out Momoa for wanting to try something unique and special. Vin called Dante Reyes a scene-stealing character that the world won't forget, and he thanked everyone for showing up like they always do, saying that $7 billion means nothing if it doesn't represent the true feeling of family and loyalty. I wonder if he had a Corona in his other hand while he wrote all that. Jason returned the compliments, commenting that everything was aloha and he had a great time. He also thanked Vin for taking a chance on him and giving him an opportunity to play a Fast and Furious villain. All this positivity might come as a surprise, because word on the street was that Vin was pretty ticked off by Jason, and the actor had been telling his friends that he's annoyed and embarrassed by him. What had Jason done to make Vin not like him? Well, apparently, Vin thought his acting performance in Fast X was too much, and he also felt like Jason was trying to steal the spotlight. That kind of approach to the role hurt the artistic integrity of the movie, or at least that's how Vin feels. Now, I'll admit that some people will think that artistic integrity is a concept that doesn't really apply to the Fast and Furious franchise, but Vin famously thinks otherwise. He's also a key producer of the franchise and its main star. So to a point, it's gonna be his way or the highway. Diesel might also tell you that he's not the only one who thought Momoa's acting was bad, because he's noticed that Fast X has gotten some of the franchise's worst reviews, and he blames that on Momoa and his acting. Neither Vin nor Momoa ever commented on those rumors, aside from the subtle response in that Instagram post. But here's something worth pointing out. If Vin really thought Momoa was the reason that the movie got bad reviews, he couldn't be further from the truth. With a 56% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes, Fast X isn't the worst-rated movie in the franchise. But while critics used to appreciate the F&F movies for their craziness, the shine might be wearing off. Since the franchise was given a soft reboot with Fast 5, these are the worst reviews the series has gotten. But is Jason the reason for the negativity? Apparently not, because critics have pointed out things like the overcomplicated story and the weak acting from everyone else in the movie. Jason's performance, in fact, was a consistent highlight. He was praised for bringing his unique energy to the film, and his character was very different from anything the series has ever come up with before. I mean, when you're being compared to the Joker, one of the best villains we've ever seen in the past few decades, you know you're doing something right. With all the praise that's being heaped on Jason by critics, it's no wonder that Vin joined the trend with that Insta post. Does that mean we can dismiss the rumors as lies? Not really, because there's more to this than meets the eye. Vin Diesel is famous for two things at this point in his career: his lead role in this series and his ego. When it comes to Fast and Furious, Vin has always seen it as his franchise, and the only one he saw as his equal was Paul Walker. After Paul passed away, Vin's really let his starring role in these movies go to his head, and it doesn't really help that he's keeping the ship together behind the scenes too. That could be because this is the most successful gig he has right now, aside from saying "I am Groot" a couple of times for the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. From Triple X to Riddick to the Bloodshot movie, Vin's done way more movies in way more genres than you might realize. But his attempts to diversify have backfired on him. That's the reason why he keeps turning up for more and more of F&F, going as far as extending the series by 2 more movies after Fast X. And there's no telling how much further the end of the road will end up being. His jealousy over his role has gotten the franchise in trouble before, as it cost them their most electrifying actor. There were many reasons why Fast 5 gave the aging series a shot in the arm, and Dwayne Johnson was one of them. His character Hobbs was introduced as part of the F&F family, and he was an instant hit. Fans wanted to see more of him in future movies, so that's what they got, as Dwayne became a third lead of the franchise. And he even got his own rival in the story with Jason Statham's Shaw. But when Paul passed in the middle of shooting Furious 7, there was an idea that someone should take his place. And it didn't take rocket science to decide who that should be. Vin shared his spotlight with The Rock in The Fate of the Furious. And that was all the sharing he was gonna do. It turned out that the two actors were feuding so hard behind the scenes, Dwayne wound up walking away from the main Fast and Furious movies. The studio tried to hold on to his magic by giving him and Statham a spin-off, but Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw kinda bombed at the box office. And that ended Dwayne's tenure with the franchise. So Vin was the winner of that feud. But was this a win for the franchise as a whole? The actor himself might say no. Back when Fast X was supposed to be the last movie in the series, Vin realized that Hobbs was an important part of the series' narrative, and he started trying to lure Dwayne back to the fold. You might remember that bizarre post on Vin's Instagram account where he told the actor that his kids call him Uncle Dwayne and send him holiday greetings, and that's why he should come back for Fast X. Alright, I might have fudged the details there, but he basically said to the actor that it was time for them to achieve their destiny, and it was time for Vin to fulfill his promise to Paul, whom he calls Pablo for some reason. He was bent on making the best finale possible for the series, and he'd finally set his ego aside to realize that Hobbs needed to be a part of the effort. That being said, Vin did Photoshop a picture of himself and Dwayne to make him seem smaller than he is, and he referred to him as his little brother. So this was less about him changing and more about him forcing himself to swallow his pride. Did Dwayne answer the call of destiny? Let's just say that Fast X might surprise you, or it might not. So, what does this mean for Jason? Should we expect him to leave the franchise too? The ending of Fast X made it look like Dante was gonna stick around, and with all the praise Momoa got for his performance, I wouldn't be surprised if he played the overarching villain for the final 3 movies of the franchise. It helps that he's a really popular actor, the kind of guy that brings butts to seats all by himself. So the studio would want to keep him around. His schedule is wide open too, since he just got booted from his biggest commitment, playing Aquaman in the DC Extended Universe. So Jason will totally stick around as long as Vin Diesel lets him. Based on the rumors, Vin's personal attitude towards being upstaged by other actors hasn't changed. But his experience with Dwayne might have made him realize that he has to put movies before his feelings. He genuinely cares more about this franchise than probably anyone else in the world, and wants them to succeed, which is why he's been willing to share the spotlight with other famous hot rods like John Cena, not to mention asking Dwayne to come back. As long as Vin keeps his feelings about Jason positive in public, I suppose he's allowed to have his own indoor thoughts, and he can talk about them to his friends without hurting Jason's feelings. With all that in mind, Momoa fans can look forward to seeing more of him in the F&F movies. So, from Vin learning to overcome his own jealousy, to singing his praises on Instagram, that's how Vin Diesel really feels about Jason Momoa.